More on the haemophilia issue and the payments, the interim payments which have been called for by Sir Brian Longstaff, the chairman of the inquiry, which was set up to look into the errors made by the NHS in the 1980s. I mean, it just goes back so far. The delays in this particular case are simply staggering. They are Dickensian and shocking, not only staggering, but shocking. And what appears to be the case is that the delays have gone on. And the idea that this is something that was announced yesterday and was a surprise to the government is simply fake. So Matt Hancock was interviewed today, and most of the interview was about how wonderful he had been as a health minister. Well, of course, I mean, as we know, Matt Hancock got caught up in a COVID breach, presumably with somebody in the stationery cupboard. We know how much he loves the stationery cupboard. Oh, Gina, can I borrow your pencil? Does it have a rubber on the end? And I wouldn't have thought that he was the best person placed to give a sound opinion. And the opinion he gave was wide of the mark. Now, the government knew of the advice about an interim payment from Sir Robert Francis in March. And the government had commissioned this independent review. And it promised to publish the independent review in full. It didn't. It was then leaked into the Sunday Times in May. And then it was forced to publish. So it did publish at that point, but it did promise to publish a response at the same time. And it didn't. It still didn't when it published its full details in June. And Sajid Javid, who had replaced Matt Hancock, who of course was stuck in the stationery cupboard, Sajid Javid, his response was, "We're looking at it." And 6 months later, Sir Brian Longstaff has come out as the chairman of the inquiry and made it very clear, so for a second time made it very clear that interim payments should be paid to haemophiliacs who were given diseased blood because proper checks had not been made. Now, those proper checks could have been made. It may have taken more time or it may have taken more money. I have no idea. I haven't read the details, so I don't know why those checks weren't made. But that put a lot of people's lives in danger. It was a lottery about if one was going to receive blood products, was one, in fact, going to put one's life further in danger. Many haemophiliacs have had their lives shortened, and therefore this is a matter where many people are already dying. There is no moral there's no moral justification in any further delay. The recommendation has been made. So either the government wants to reject the recommendation made by an inquiry that it set up, or it's going to need to justify this further delay. Now, as far as I see it, this further delay is a result of what I'm going to repeat is the nonsense of the prime ministerial competition. Now, why do I say that? Because it has the patina of democratic resonance. Well, it isn't democratic. It's the new prime minister will be elected by a very small group within our society. It's a nod at democracy, and it's a delay and a delay at a time when we cannot afford delays, when we have international crises, when we have domestic crises, and now, actually, we have a medical and a political crisis which was absolutely visible 6 months ago. Now, of course, Boris knew the writing was on the wall, as I've been saying, for certainly the last 9 months or so. And Boris's job in that time was not to cling on to office, but to ensure that suitable candidates were elevated into the cabinet so that they would have a chance of standing to replace him. He didn't do this, so the pool for his potential successor is very small, and it's effectively Hobson's choice. But with Hobson's choice, we actually do have a choice, and we should now put as much pressure as we possibly can on these two candidates, I was going to say limp candidates, but I mean, I really do mean that, of course, on these two candidates, Liz Truss and Rishi Sunak, to confirm that they will make this payment. Because if they confirm that, then Boris can go ahead. There's no reason then to delay. So Matt Hancock is partly right. There are technical things to be agreed. But one of those technical things is this needs to go through with the nod of the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister is on the way out, so it could be argued that he cannot commit his successors to a very large payment from taxpayers' money. That large payment should have been made years ago. And the fact that we didn't make that payment, and the fact that we have delayed for so many years, is simply shocking. What is it? It's 40 years. 40 years. 40 years waiting for a very measly amount of compensation in the end. We should hang our heads in shame, and we can no longer claim that we are supporting an effective NHS. If the NHS, it is the NHS which is responsible for this mess, and it's the bureaucrats in the NHS who are responsible, not the many hard-working nurses and doctors who deliver the NHS. We need to rethink our NHS. We need to scrape away these overpaid bureaucrats from the NHS and indeed from education. I was told the other day how much various headmasters have been paid, and I am simply shocked when I was also told how much senior administrators in the health service are paid, and I am shocked. I'm shocked, and I think we should all be shocked. And this should be placed at their door. Heads should roll, and they should not be replaced.